Okay, guys, so here we are doing our Colonial Art and Identity really brief lecture. I only have 32%, obviously, you can see my battery. So what I wanted to do is just going to give you a little bit more, depending on what class you are in. My Period 2, my Period 3 class didn't get very much. My Period 5 class got most of the lecture, and obviously my honors class also got a little bit of the lecture, but I still think it'll be useful for you guys to I think you guys got the lecture. I can't remember. I'll be honest. Anyway, so we watch this regardless in the privacy of wherever you are. On your phone. I know it sucks to watch this on your phone. It's too tiny. But anyway, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about what you're going to be doing in class and ultimately how this is going to help you understand this really kind of very bizarre time period. And I have some lecture notes that I'll probably type in every once in a while. But ultimately what we're trying to understand, so I'll put my caps lock on there so I'll be yelling at you, is looking at the struggle that colonists face in determining their independence in a different way. I spelled determining wrong, I think. Okay, so ultimately, when you guys are going to look at this assignment, which is here, it's called Colonial Art in the Pre-Revolutionary Period, and you guys are going to then annotate an image itself, and we're going to be looking at some sample images so you get a sense of, as to not necessarily exactly how to do it, but what I'm talking about, and that's the little rubric right there. But I think that looking at the struggle the colonists face from a cultural perspective gives you a little bit more of a sophisticated and nuanced understanding as to what's going on in this period, right? Because I don't want you to think that, as soon as the French and Indian War is over, that all of a sudden, colonists are agitating for independence, because that's certainly not true. I would even say that prior to, I would say even in like March of 1776, well, probably because Lexington, 1775, but I would say really up until the very moment before July, it was not entirely clear that the colonists, certainly not all of them, were on board with separating. But there are definitely signs that things are not the way they should be. And so, the typical narrative in looking at this is this. So the typical story is that colonists separate because they hate taxes. Which is certainly true. Like, they do hate taxes. No one likes to pay taxes. People hate taxes now. But definitely there's more to it than just that. It's not just taxes. So there's that story. You also then have the other typical story is that colonists separate because they're not receiving the same rights as, Englishmen. And that's fine too. That's also true. I mean, we're going to be looking at these things. It's not just economic and political, but you also have this cultural piece, which is what I'm hoping that the colonial art will help you with. The cultural piece is this. There is this tension that exists with an American identity and an English identity. And the two are coming into direct conflict in this time, over time, really. So there is this sense that Americans do things differently. And when we were watching the Last Mohicans, there was this mention of this. There is this distinctly American attitude. Yeah, I was actually recording something. Oh. It's okay. Is that okay? It'll be like 5 more minutes. So see, this is like real time. It's like you're here. So essentially, like, I want to deepen your understanding of not just past the economic and past the political piece, but also look at this from a cultural perspective. Okay, so here's where my lecture begins. So this, oh, hello, I didn't mean to do that, sorry guys. This lecture deals with art of the time period. The time period we're looking at is really like 1700 to 1800. The time period we're going to be specifically looking at is a little bit later. And I don't want to go too much in depth about the Enlightenment and what that means because we do spend some time, and I'll probably do a separate lecture on that you'll probably watch at home. Actually, it'll be a 2-parter. But neoclassical art is essentially it's a time period that's dominated by the scientific revolution, the realization that the world is a rational place and that we need to analyze it rationally. And although some of the art that we definitely actually, that we look at reflects that, I want to focus more on portrait art rather than the scientific revolution. So yeah, this is a crazy picture that you guys are like, why would you ever show this to me? And I obviously talked a lot about it with my period 5 class. But this is supposed to indicate just sort of the reality, the very harsh reality of childbirth, and the baby's drawn in like this incredible detail, and you can see all the innards and the bones, and it's kind of gross. Really don't look too close because you can see all sorts of details that you probably don't want to, understand. But anyway, and yes, babies are born with hair, Jack. Babies have hair. Not all babies, babies are different, but hair. Okay, so but when you move on, and we're talking about London, right? There, you see that little yellow circle there? There it is. Okay. Culture is, and this is important, culture is, American colonists look to Europe for what is acceptable culture, what is au courant, what is hip, what is mainstream, as both Anthony and George pointed out, right? This is mainstream, this is acceptable. And the English look to Paris. And obviously there's different schools of paintings, and we're going to be primarily focusing on portrait art, but portrait art is something that begins, it's an English, French tradition. You're very wealthy, you have a portrait done of yourself to indicate how important you are. It's what you do. So this is just a beautiful picture, and this obviously reflects the sort of the scientific nature of the times, right? They're looking at the universe, the way that the planets move, but it's just kind of an awesome picture. But I want you to, right, experiments, the bird. Anyway, I want to talk more about, I'm flipping through here, ooh, life at the table. That's a guy blowing a bubble. Self-portrait, right? So you have this French woman drawing this self-portrait of herself. She's dressed, look at the ribbon, that's beautiful. Anyway, another self-portrait, French artists. But what I want to look at, I'm trying to get to it, Thomas Gainsborough is a very famous English artist who is mimicked, is copied, who I don't think actually does any stuff for colonists, but is a really important painter. And by the way, if you are a colonist and you want to train as to how to be a portrait artist, because it's very difficult, you go to Europe, you go to England, you go to the best schools there. There's no like painting school. It's not like, like the Harvard of painting schools is in Europe. It's not in America. Like there's no training. I mean, like you certainly could be trained here, but it wouldn't be seen as like respectable. But this is a very sort of archetypal picture. There's the nature in the background. She clearly is the wife of Richard Brinsley Sheridan, who is immensely wealthy. And then to demonstrate this wealth, has his wife and this beautiful, vista. This is a painting done by Sir Joshua Reynolds of Lady Sarah Bunbury, Sacrificing to the Graces. That's 1765. You don't see a lot of these in colonial America. This is much more sort of like, it's just not grounded enough. This is a painting that you would see. This is obviously of an English general, but you would not, this is the kind of painting that you're going to see. That's George Washington, right? So this painting of him, and if you look in the corner, there's the horse, there's the guy holding his horse in the background. That's his stable boy, right? His groom for his horse. This side, he's resting his hand on a cannon. This is the beginning of the myth-making of George Washington, him being an incredibly important revolutionary figure. Obviously, initially his career was not that great. He didn't do too well in the French and Indian War. But time has passed. Obviously, the French and Indian War was about 30 years prior to this. So he's aged, and with age comes wisdom, so they say. But Charles Willson Peale is another really important portrait artist that does work in colonial America. This is Benjamin West, also does some pretty well-known pieces of art in colonial America. This is actually the death of General Wolfe. This is a scene from the Battle of Quebec, which is 1759, which General Wolfe is dying, right? He has this very Christ-like pose. You see that Indians, right? See, there he is crouching. He looks kind of, he's like, look how, wow, we're in good shape. See, Hawkeye, maybe this is where well, Hawkeye's not an Indian, but you get what I'm saying. Look at this guy's hair. See his hair right here? Blowing in the breeze. He's clasping his hands. He's clasping his hands. They're all looking sad, his hands up. Oh, I have something in the background. I'm holding the flag. They're really, he dies, by the way, so don't get too attached to him. Obviously, the death of General Wolfe. But this is a really important sort of myth-making process. This is like the big, best example of portrait art. This is like the seminal portrait of this period. It's rife with meaning. Paul Revere is an extraordinarily important part of revolutionary America. Especially when we look at this as like the myth making. This is obviously not a myth at the time. It's 1768 to 1770. We know a lot of stuff is going on in that period from your reading that you did, right? The widening split. He is holding his right. Now, keep in mind, Paul Revere is a silversmith. That means that he is an artisan. He's very different than the wealthy that are being portrayed that you'll be looking at. So the fact that he has the money to have this painting done does indicate that he's a man of means, but not the kind of means that you wouldn't see him just sitting at a table with his wife poring over like maps. You know, this is his work. This is his livelihood. This is where he makes his money. It is probably metaphorical or, you know, symbolic that he's holding a teapot. Taxes on tea. The Tea Act is, when is the Tea Act? Hold on, let's see. Uh-oh, I don't have that much. Tea Act, let's file new tab. I should remember this. I should remember this offhand, but I can't. Tea Act, I think it's I don't want to say 1770 and then be wrong. Let's see, what does Wikipedia say, 1773? Yeah, 1773. So, blah, 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 blah. I would say the teapot is important, but at the same time, probably not that important because if you think about it, 1773, and this page is 1770, so, you know, maybe this has long-term significance. But he's wearing workman's clothing, and I don't want to belabor the point because you do images with him in it. Now we get into Rome, and let's just look at some pictures. Oh, hey, that's Voltaire. These are really important Enlightenment thinkers. Let's just see what else we got here. George Washington. This is like, that's huge, by the way. He's an important sculptor. This is also the myth making. This is the start of the new country. That's just a old, okay. Let's see. Oh, Socrates. Oh, this is French Revolution. Oh, Napoleon getting coordinated. First of all, can we just look at this for a second? Look at how amazing that is. Do you actually dress this way? Anyway, so, but what I want you to think about, and we're going to look at some images really quickly over here. I'm sorry, this is kind of crazy looking. A lot of the images that we're looking at, they're linked. They are linked for you, sorry. In It's Learning. And I chose them for you. And that's all caps, that's going to be a problem. And so what you want to think about is how this art demonstrates a struggle. Paul Revere's is the easiest to do. Paul Revere is very clear in this case a struggle. But some people are a little bit, you know, and this is the same thing as how now, are a little bit more indicative of the struggle. So you go into the American Revolution folder, and you go to in-class assignments, and you go to Art and Colonial Identity, and then all of these, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 images. So even in my class of like 22, there'll be just, I guess, 4 of you per group, which is kind of big, but each of you have a piece that you can do. And so you would look at, you know, you click on this. It's going to take you to Mercy Otis Warren, right? And you're going to say a little bit about who she is and what that means. And you can zoom in, and zoom out, and you can zoom in. There she is. She can zoom out. Look at the bow. Amazing. Okay. And what I have you do is you're going to use, and this is just a heads up, you're going to use one of 2 ways to annotate this image. You're going to tell me who this person is. You're going to tell me who painted it. You're going to tell me what significance this has. And you're going to use the rubric that's provided, right? Ask you for the title of the portrait, the date, the artist, all that kind of stuff. And you use the MFA primarily to get this information. And you can use either one of 2 things to annotate it. You can use ThingLink. So you just go to thinglink.com. And this is going to be a heads up for my period 3 class and my period 2 class as to like what you'll be doing tomorrow. My honors kids will have started this today, and my period 5 class, take a look at this because it will save us time in terms of like which one you would want to use. So ThingLink, you know, you can see some other stuff that I've done in the past. ThingLink is a way for you to annotate images. So okay, there's my daughter from like a year ago. Oh, there's a close up of her face. Oh, look how dirty her face is. So she's like a lot of hair now. Anyway, go back because this is not like a useful image for you. You just create a like a login. It takes no time at all. And I am going to, then you go open up your interactive image, you drag and drop it, and then when you go to annotate it, and you're like, how would I know anything about this? Well, hold on. Go MFA, and you go, I think that was, oh, sorry. I think that was, I think that's Mr. and Mrs. Ralph Izzard. So what you do is go MFA, Mr. and Mrs. Ralph Izzard. And then you go to, see, I get all of these, by the way, from the MFA. So all of this information could come from the MFA. And all of this information is here for you. So it tells you about Copley. It tells you about who this is. It tells you about, and it's where it says more, you click on more. And this is telling you all about the picture. So the distance views includes the Colosseum, symbol of ancient Rome and the most important monument for early Americans traveling to Italy. Okay, great. So fine. You want to tell me about what that means, this high stable, like all of this stuff, all this is information that's great. You would go and you could, you want to, sorry, I'm like, you want to touch. You're like, oh, okay, I don't want to touch. Hold on. I want to edit. Let's see what happens here. Nope, I don't want to edit. If you want to make it bigger, though, that's like one way to do it. Okay, go away. Save. Close that tagging. Okay. You can tag it. I just want to tag it. How do I tag it? There we go. Come on. Tag. You're like, well, now I won't use this. Touch. I'm going to tag. Oh, battery, shush. No touches. What is? No, I don't want to share. Sorry. This is not going as planned. Maybe I'll just delete this part of the whole thing. I'll just like edit it. I just want to. I don't want to share. I just want to edit it. Let's see. I already did that, didn't I? Add class. Okay, click to add tag. So I want to tag like this Colosseum. Okay. So you don't have a link. You could do the MFA link, or you could just say this column reflects Roman architecture, which is important. I'm literally making this up. You would write something better, obviously. And then he was like, save tag. And so then I save, and then my tag should appear. See? There you go. Oh my God, look how cool that is. That took a while. I apologize. I think you want to do edit first and then you go into that. But you can also use Padlet. Okay, and I'll show you how you do that. I'm really hoping this is not, let's see if I really hope this is not the longest thing ever. So I want to build a wall. And so what I would do is you would drag and drop an image, right? So what you would do is I can add a URL. So say I want to do that. The thing that's a pain in the butt about this is that you have to like drag it and drop it into your desktop and insert it. So when you do that, you could you can paste a URL and then just drag it and drop it in there. But you know what? Why don't we, or what does this say? Upload a file. So you click there, and so I'm literally, I don't even know what this is. No, Preston Brooks getting beaten is not my jam. You can see all my crazy stuff here. Board and family. I'm not going to do that. Don't get excited. It's not exciting. And then there's me. I could do my face. I thought you can, you get what I'm saying here. Drag it and drop it onto your desktop, find it, and then you can go from there. So let's just, I don't even know what this is. Let's just see what happens. What is this? What is it? Oh my God! Ah, this is so exciting! I can't believe that just happened. Oh my gosh, did that just happen? Why is it so small? So the only thing is that you want to make it bigger, which apparently you can't. This is why maybe Padlet kind of sucks a little bit. So you would write like Ralph Izzard and wife, right? And then I wish I could make it bigger. And then you would write something here and like write all about it, right? But oh, that's right. Drag it and drop it. And so you move it, and you could do the same thing. So you wouldn't annotate directly into it. You would just write stuff all around it. Does that make sense? So you can do either one, which is easier. I mean, I'm sure I made both of them look like enormously difficult. But so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is have my honors kids. Maybe they'll just watch this in class. Is that weird? Is that too weird? But anyway, hopefully you get like a better sense as to what's going on in terms of colonial art and identity. Again, just to reinforce this idea, colonists are struggling with who they are during really sort of dark time in Anglo-colonial relations, and eventually this leads obviously to the separation between the Great Britain and the colonists, but not without a fight. Obviously, the American Revolution. But you can see, in this picture, which was painted in 1775. Mr. and Mrs. Ralph Izzard, or Alice Delancey, as she is known, are having even themselves a hard time figuring out where they exist in this new world. This is a really long video. Hopefully, it won't take you forever. Well, actually, it won't take you forever to watch it all because it just takes me forever to upload, so it'll be fine. The next one I'm going to try to do, I'm going to do one about the Enlightenment. I might do a two-parter. I might do a scientific revolution one and then like a political and philosophical. Did I just say that wrong? Philosophical one, but I might do that in the comfort of my own home. That's the beauty of this for me. I hope this works. Tell me if this sucks, because if this sucks, like, we won't do this. We'll just do in class stuff. But I hope you liked it, and I hope to do more of these for you. Okay, I'll see you guys later.